There we go. Good morning, Hacksters! Today is my favorite day of the week when we get to talk to awesome people from the hardware community, and today our guests are Ken Burns and Ben Rose from TinyCircuits, based in Akron, Ohio. Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Oh, good morning.
Great.
Good to see you, Alex.
You too! We've met in person at a few different events and stuff. It's been so long now, but I'm stoked to see your new product that is in beta right now and coming out on Kickstarter soon. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it is the Thumby, and it is a tiny little game console. I mean, when we say tiny, it's like super tiny. And it's actually really cool. And so we're releasing this in 1 week on Kickstarter. Actually turn it on. So it is completely playable. So there's a little D-pad, a couple buttons, probably not focused completely great. And it uses the new RP2040 processor from a Raspberry Pi. And we actually have worked on a MicroPython IDE as well, so you can program your games. It's designed to make it really easy to program games as well, and so kind of lower that barrier of entry to get people to kind of tinker around. And it's just a lot of fun.
So you have your own IDE for this, which we'll get to in a second. Really interesting. But first up, let's talk a little bit more about TinyCircuits as a company. We've featured you a few times before. You've got these tiny arcade kits that people might know about. Of course, here's the Thumby. And then also your TinyTV kits are really popular. And how many of these things have you sold? Do you have any idea?
Tiny arcades came out almost 5 or 6 years ago. We've sold over 10,000 of those.
Dang!
And so that was really popular. The TVs, and so we actually did a Kickstarter campaign around the arcade when that first came out. The TVs, we just kind of rolled out on our website. Those have been really popular over the last few years. It's only been about 1.5 years or so since we released that. Right. It's definitely well over 1,000 that we've done. And so actually we've got a little TV here. So it's a little 3D printed enclosure, kind of has our circuitry in it. You can play your own videos. There's a little remote control with it. And you can, it's a DIY kit, so you kind of make it yourself. And so it's a lot of fun. And again, you can load your own videos onto it. So it just uses our standard circuits that go into that. And that's been extremely popular over the last few years.
It's our most popular thing.
And actually, we've got 4 Hackster, which is a special exclusive, an even tinier TV. So this is, so here's the normal TV. Here's the tinier TV. So this is maybe 1 inch across, and it does work. If I can.
Oh my gosh!
I can't even see it. I'll leave it to Ben. He's younger. But basically, same concept. The issue with this is. These little color screens are
doing something on there. It's got a little speaker and a rechargeable battery and everything like that in there.
Oh my gosh.
And that's making noise, so turn it off. The problem is that screen is actually obsolete, so we're hoping we can get more of those screens. So this is like a one-off prototype, unfortunately, but it's cute. And we like it. So
Someday.
Oh, that's so cool. And your Kickstarter for the Thumby is launching when?
Exactly 1 week from now. So next Tuesday, the 28th of September at noon Eastern time, so 8 a.m. Pacific time.
It's awesome. There's also all kinds of projects that people have built with these over the years already. Let's take a look at some of those real quick. Obviously not with the Thumby yet, but soon. We have the most recent projects, people working with accelerometers and data loggers, making smart desks. A sober drive enforcer, interesting. I've used them a bunch. You can see some of mine things like this LED pendant thing and random lucid dreaming things. And somebody's making... There's lots of Halloween projects on here, like these Luna Lovegood Spectre specs and things like that, and all kinds of cool stuff that you're making with these tiny little displays, tiny little everything. And obviously that's your company name, but it's really incredible just like how small and useful these things are. I love TinyCircuits stuff, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of our whole twist is making it tiny. And so our standard product line, it's all Arduino based, but it works like almost like little modular electronic Legos. So you stack the boards together and you can add Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, different displays, all sorts of different sensors and whatnot. So we've got about 40 boards in that standard TinyDuino form factor. We came out with wirelings a few years ago, which are basically little boards you can plug in, just use wires. And so it's all I2C based, very like cheap little boards, and you can use with Pis and different things as well. So that's the standard TinyDuino platform you're sharing there. So basically all those boards just kind of stacked together, and it's completely compatible with standard Arduino. If you click on the wire links, these are basically just little, those are kind of kits at the top, but if you scroll down some more, you'll see the individual boards. Some different little displays you can plug in. Again, you can use this with Arduino, our system, or Raspberry Pi, or Beagle boards, or anything really. So it's just very simple
cool.
sensors, and they're very, very tiny. It's kind of the twist. So,
are these the ones you were you calling these Whisker a little while ago?
we were calling those Whiskers, and so that's how we launched a Kickstarter with Whiskers. Kind of ran into a trademark issue. Somebody else was using the Whisker name, and so they were very nice about it. Like, hey, just change the name, we won't sue you. And so we changed the name to Wirelings. And but no, these have been out for a couple of years, and
that's a great name though.
Again, really popular. So it's a very easy way to add little tiny displays or sensors to projects.
Yeah, I've used these in a ton of projects. You can see one of the stack ups here, where it's like just like a display board and a controller board and a battery board all on top of each other, and just so easy. This is the original sort of TinyCircuits system. I love it. So tell us more about the Thumby.
Well, I'll leave it to Ben. Thumby actually came out of a design Ben worked on as a...
Yeah, can you grab that?
I can. Here's the old one. You might actually seen this one, Alex, years ago.
Probably years ago.
Oh, yeah.
This is like it was just a little personal project. So it's just, we were just trying to see how small I could make something, kind of.
Oh, look at that SD card in there.
Yeah. So this is like a little 3D printed case. So I guess we were kind of just looking through all the smallest parts and just seeing what was out there and just put them all together into the smallest possible package. And that's kind of how that was made. Back then, it would have been really expensive to make it. So that's kind of why it's just been a little project, a one-off for a long time. So kind of, I guess just over the last year, we decided to kind of bring it here and see if we could make it into a production-ready design.
Yeah, it's something we've toyed with for a long time. And obviously we want to do an injection molded case and some things to make it more cost effective. And so we've done a preliminary injection molded case for this. And so actually we sent out some samples, and Alex, you actually have one.
Yeah.
So that's an injection molded enclosure. We're still going to refine that a little bit. But based on that, we can keep the cost of it really quite low. And so the other kind of cool thing about us at TinyCircuits is we actually make everything ourselves. And so we have our own electronics assembly line here in Ohio.
Wow.
So the Thumby we're making completely out of our shop.
There's a little panel in there.
The
circuit board.
You can show that.
Yeah.
So here is an early version of Thumbys.
Yeah,
this
is just the a little prototype panel of circuit boards there. So
we made these like a week or two ago across the hall in our kind of electronics fab shop, SMT line. And then the injection molds we're having done by a local company as well.
Oh, really?
So here is, the case.
I think there's a little case tabs in there. Just like
Sorry, case tabs. It is.
How do the two halves of the injection mold adhere together? Because they seem to be like melted together or something.
There's actually there's a set of, I wish we had it here. There's a little set of pins and they're glued. So it's not something that can be opened up, but at this size, it's just, not possible to figure out any.
That makes sense.
Somebody could, if you wanted to, you could crack open the case.
Yeah.
It's not going to get it back together again. But that's one thing. Like I said, even though we're making it here in the U.S. and making it, our price point for the Thumby is $19 on the Kickstarter. And then we're planning on doing a early bird for like the first 50 people at $9. And actually with those first 50 people, we do have components to make those first 50. And so we're planning to ship those really as soon as the Kickstarter is over. And then after that, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, there's some component issues going on in the electronics world. And so hopefully we can start shipping soon after that too.
I just want to show off the packaging that you have here. You're talking about the production design and manufacturing, and this, I love this little cartridge case type thing that you have on here. You've got a QR code there for getting started. You push this thing and it opens, and then you have your little, production fail. But then you have your little foam insert with the Thumby in it, and it looks like part of this is laser cut right now because you've got the little
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
X bottom. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to use that or not in the future, but we're really excited to just kind of have that as like a little sample of what the
It's tiny. It works. Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it's kind of, I would say it's kind of ridiculously small. So, but again, it's fun. It's cute. You probably might go crazy if you try to play for too long on it, but it's fun. It's also kind of a challenge to see what you can make with it, like to do your own games for it. And so it's we see that kind of being an appealing factor that hey, you can carry this thing around and kind of show off what you've made with it.
Yeah, I definitely had fun trying to fit the couple of little sample games that we made onto a screen that size because it's only 72 by 40 pixels. So it's a different challenge.
I was playing the Tetris game on here, which I think if I do this, it'll go. There. Oh, settings. Hey, nice.
Yeah, there's different. If you scroll down, there's different games that are loaded down there too.
Oh, cool. I only managed to find the Tetris one so far, but I was like, going at it with my little thumbnails. You definitely have to have thumbnails to play with this. If you bite your nails, maybe this is a good excuse to get yourself to stop. But I'm definitely planning on, I have like a doctor's appointment today, and so I'm definitely going to throw this in my bag for that. One thing I love about it is that you have a speaker in here. In this tiny little package, there's actually a speaker. It's kind of quiet, but you can actually hear it when you like clear a row or when you do a game over and you get the little rocks falling sound.
Yeah. Actually, we have one little soldered up. Yes, this is the circuit board with the there's a little screen. You can see the battery and just a little tiny piezo buzzer that's also soldered on there. So that's what the little speaker is. So all that is stuffed in the little plastic case, which is not that easy.
I imagine. And being able to glue that together. Random question: what do you use, like cyanoacrylate, or what kind of adhesive are you using in there?
What's that, sorry?
Oh, I was wondering what kind of adhesive you're using.
Oh, it's just a little plastic glue. Yeah, some specific stuff for gluing the case together in there. Yeah.
Always curious about these like production details and stuff. Oh man, I forgot what my next. Oh no, okay. So this is based on the RP2040 chip from Raspberry Pi, their first foray into silicon, and I know that they were delaying opening that up to the public for people to be able to buy and create their own products because of the whole awfulness with chip shortage. How is it getting a hold of those now? Did you pre-order a bunch of them back in the day, or are you still able to source those?
So we were able to pre-order close to like 200 of them. And so that let us do a number of prototype rounds and samples. And again, for like the first 50, we have components for those. And we have talked with the folks at Raspberry Pi. And so obviously semiconductor shortage is not unique to them or to anyone. And so, and we do have orders for volume amounts. So it really comes down to, probably things even out of their control as to when we'll get production quantities. But the hope is really later this fall, we'll be able to get, thousands. Yeah. And then depending on how well the Kickstarter does, get, much higher volumes shortly thereafter. So we've noticed, obviously we make a lot of different things too, and we actually do some contract manufacturing for people as well. And so really all semiconductors are having issues with lead times. And the hope is some of that starts to get a little bit better this fall and early next in 2022. So hopefully we're past the worst of it, but it's still, there's really long lead times for things. Like from Atmel/Microchip, the lead times are long.
Yeah, I've been trying to get at Tiny's, and it's just like, even those, which I think, are sort of always obtainium at this point. It's like hard.
We use a lot of Atmegas and SAMDs from Atmel, which is now Microchip, and lead times are 52 plus weeks, which is just great for stuff. And so we've got a lot of orders in for different things, and we actually did get some shipments and some processors in earlier today for our standard stuff. So it's a challenge. Yeah,
we're finding stuff here and there.
But again, it's not unique to us. It's the entire world that's dealing with it. So.
One thing that might be really cool for people watching is this is how we made some of the very first prototypes.
Yes.
Is a Pico board with the processor removed. So that's, we weren't able to get.
Yeah, we did purchase a lot of Pi Picos and just scavenged the processors off them.
That's legit. You just
get
use
the processors. Yeah.
Do you use like a heat skillet or?
What's that? Sorry.
I couldn't think of the word hot plate. Do you use like a hot plate to take those off, or?
I just use the hot air gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's able to pull off, and then we're able to reassemble them, and on the Thumby prototype boards, and
Legit. What are your other favorite tools to use in your lab when you're assembling things or taking things apart? Since you're doing everything in house, I'm really curious. Like, what are the tools that really make your lives easier as a small business?
I mean, the most important production tool is the pick and place machine by far.
So I'd separate that from like the engineering side. So
Right.
we've got a few good soldering irons and tools. So definitely microscopes are important.
That's the biggest thing for when making like prototypes or something, is just the microscope. Probably you could use just about any soldering iron, but if you can't see what you're working on, then
we do have a high-end JVC soldering iron that's well north of $1,000, and the tips are insanely expensive. They're like $40 each, and they burn out frequently. I'm looking at certain people that burn out my tips, and so. But then, so that's kind of the engineering side. But then on the production side, we've got whole SMT line. So we've got a Panasonic stencil printer, so that puts down the solder paste, and then we have a GP pick and place machine. So it's actually capable of doing like 13,000 components an hour, and then a reflow oven, and all sorts of fun stuff over on that side. And so that's like to make these, like to put this panel through our pick and place to do 15 Thumbys might take 2 or 3 minutes to actually populate this board. Yeah. And then it goes through the oven. And so in production, it's actually not that bad to do it like here in the US if you have the appropriate equipment. And so again, we've got an SMT line that's pretty much solely dedicated for our own products. We do some other products. They're definitely usually things we've designed ourselves. So it kind of fits in with our process. And so we can do things in very low volume very easily and cheaply here, whereas for other people, it's kind of a pain if you have to go outside. It takes a long time and costs a lot, whereas we don't really have that.
Right.
We have the pain of maintaining our own equipment, which is a lot, but it's been worth it.
Probably another interesting thing for just when we were running prototypes. I mean, those are all still just hand assembled. So I mean, we're just hand stenciling paste onto the boards and hand placing under the microscope and making the first 1 to 10 prototypes of some board. So that's still how we do it.
And that's all stuff the standard hobbyist does too. So we buy. I mean, it's like what Ben did to do this was just like the dude out of his garage type thing, and that's how like a lot of our prototypes we still kind of take that approach, and so just hand place it.
Yep.
And stencil, and so it's usually pretty affordable to do like a little prototype.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't cost much, and same thing like a home person can do.
So
close your oven for a reflow.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the Thumby, as we continue to do, can you show us the programming interfaces that you come up with? Because there's some really cool stuff that you've done.
Yeah. So
I'll leave that to you. Yeah. So basically, it's a web IDE, so it's built on open source tools, and then the Thumby itself is running Python. You talk.
Basically, that's the really cool thing about boards running MicroPython is that we can have we can connect to a web page with a web USB, basically. So we're able to build a full editor in there. So we're using some like other open source projects and kind of put them together and made this web page. And basically, I think we should be able to do a quick demo. It's just as soon as you plug the Thumby into USB on the computer, we should be able to hit this like connect Thumby and turn on Thumby. Very important. Here we go. So let's see if it actually works now. We know how demos go. Here we go. So this is actually the file system on Thumby. So we can actually see the games. We can just click on this Python file and be able to view it in this editor. So we can see my adaptation of this game, which is, it works.
Can you click any of the?
Yes, we can take a look. So here's like in the start screen. So if we just put in, so let's see. Let's just see. Well, let's just try this and see what happens. So we can basically just click this, and it's going to upload that code to the Thumby itself. Then if we put this up, so if you actually go to camera, yeah, you can't see anything, but it does say Hackster. So you can see it's changed from what it was doing. So I mean, it's as simple as that to edit games. So I know we want to work on some like tutorials to just put really simple stuff together so people can just get started in like minutes.
And you do have a tutorial page already put together for how to use this IDE, which is very exciting. I actually tried this morning, and where's my Thumby? This is going to end up being a thing. Where's my Thumby? I plugged it in, and I'm on a Mac. You seem to be on a Windows computer. And even so, I obviously just got this in the mail and plugged it in to my computer over micro USB, fired up the thing in Chrome. It doesn't have to be Chrome or what's the other one? Edge?
I think so. I'm not sure exactly which web browser it does maybe, but I think Chrome is the main one.
Chrome or Edge or yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Definitely Chrome.
So I was using Chrome, and all I had to do was I plugged it in, I turned it on, and then I had to choose which port, which was, the IDE itself gave me a little message like, you need to choose what port it's on. And then it was immediately connected. I didn't have to install any kind of helper thing on my computer or anything, any kind of browser extension. It was already just ready to go. It was super cool.
Awesome. Thanks for testing that.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah.
Not too many people tested it yet. So.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the goals is, especially when you're dealing with, because we deal with a lot of support issues with our Arduino stuff and Pi stuff. That is always an issue, just getting the tools set up and installing the drivers. Probably the number one, request we got is, hey, I can't find my TinyDuino the USB port, and it's always like a driver issue if it's Mac or PC. And so this kind of takes a lot of that out of it. And two, for kids or somebody, it's just a very easy way to start programming. If you can do it in Python, you don't have to worry about, if you can do something in a matter of a minute to show something on the screen, then you're kind of excited about it.
Yeah, and what about this this builder over here, the bitmap builder? How does that work?
Show.
Yeah, so basically, this is still a work in progress, but my understanding, because there's somebody else working on this, you can kind of click around on here, and I think, just draw something. I don't know what I'm drawing. I'm just making a squiggle.
Move that over to the
little Tetris piece or whatever.
Do a little, not a good angle. There, that's happy. We should be able to just
export the lines.
Yeah, maybe something like that. So it's just so it's made like a little bitmap right in there.
You should be able to import it too, the Tetris.
Yeah, you can. Oh, I don't know if that'll work. I'm scared to try this. Let's see.
It is a demo. It is a live demo of a beta project.
I made this by hand a long time ago. Yeah, I made this by hand.
Is that just any part of it?
Wow.
Yeah. Let's try this.
So, but yeah, that's the idea is you can
I
easily.
haven't seen this. So there it is.
Well,
I wonder
we
if
have all left before people can even order this thing, so it seems like.
Yeah, so this is early.
See,
it's working.
Import your Tetris Splash. How big is it?
Nah.
Okay, whatever. You get the idea.
Yeah, legit.
But again, to make it easy to create little sprites and whatnot.
Yeah.
Bitmaps.
I was wondering what the best place is for people to watch out for when this gets released. Obviously, you have your TinyCircuits Twitter. We have your Instagram with tons of cool stuff on here. I can't get over how small this is. But it's still really fun to play with your little thumbnails and stuff.
Yeah, probably the best place is we have basically a Kickstarter landing page for now that you can just put your email in. So if you go to Thumby.us,
yes,
it's just a little landing page.
Waitlist is.
Yeah, so you basically just join the waitlist, and as soon as we go live, you'll get emailed, or you can just set an alert, that hey, next Tuesday at noon we'll be going live. Thing is, like I said, we've got 50 early birds. We have a suspicion those are going to go very quickly. So. Because they are at $9 and there's only 50 of them, and we've got quite a few people signed up already. So we're pretty excited that it's going to go well. And then obviously we want developers to start making games for it. So you can use Python. Obviously, you can still use standard Arduino too if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So it's not restricted to just Python, but it comes with Python. It makes it pretty easy if you want to do that.
I do love Python because then you can sort of see what's already on the board when you plug it in, and you can just easily modify that and save it. Compared to Arduino, it tends to be a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think it's really cool that you can just plug it in the browser and see, all the games on it and the source code for those games. So
that's one of the nice things about using like a 2040. And obviously the 2040, we get this a lot, is it's kind of a powerful processor for something like this. And we understand it's actually underclocked a little bit, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be underclocking it for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Again, it's a tiny little screen, and that thing could do quite a bit more. But it's actually more affordable than most other processors out there.
Yeah.
Cheaper than some AT Tinys, actually. And
Wow.
so why would we not? And so it helps us keep the cost down, and then we can run MicroPython on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just noticed on your Instagram that you have a BMO. This is so exciting. Did you make this, or is this?
Customers painted that onto our TV, so they did a really cool job on that.
So props to Makeshift Gifts. You may have an amazing tiny BMO. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious about, you've mentioned that you do some contracting work, and what kind of things do you work on for other people generally? I understand that like there may be NDAs and things, but like general genres of things. What do you like to work on besides tiny things, and what do people like get after you for?
Usually the people that we've done projects for or products are people that have used our own, our product for something else, because our stuff is good for prototyping. And if somebody wants to actually do a product, they can do it. Really, it doesn't make sense after a certain volume to just buy like little stackable boards. You'd want to design a custom board. And so we've done a number of those where somebody's using some of our stuff and they say, hey, we want to make 100 or a couple thousand. And they just can redesign a custom board. And so we're doing some things. We've got a project now of a customer that does some LED type boards. So we've helped integrate that, do some of the software for it, and then we're making thousands of those for them. We've done some bigger, like robotic type things that aren't tiny at all.
I'll show the board. So it's just, we can't probably say what it is, but it drives some big motors.
So this is obviously a much bigger board than it's not tiny at all. And it's got close to 500 components on it. So that's something we're doing for somebody else. Although we did the design of it, we're not really geared as like a true contract manufacturer where you have the design done and you just ship it to us and we build it.
Right.
Just because it doesn't really fit in with our flow. And there's other people out there that do that much better than we can. And they're that's what they do day in and out. They just are kind of job shops.
So even that huge board shares a lot of parts with our like regular boards, basically. So we just reused as many parts as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that you have someone doing an LED project, which of course leads me to this TinyCircuits that you've done. I could totally see someone building a different thing based on this tiny little lightsaber project. It's so cool.
I've got one of those here. So it's a little, we kind of did this because we're going to a lot of maker fairs. And we've come across you at a number of maker fairs too. And so this was done as kind of a little low-end project because we'd have a lot of kids come over and they want like arcades and whatnot, and it's kind of outside their budget. So we wanted to make a little thing that attracts attention. So it's got a little persistence of vision on it, capacitive touch on the back. Probably won't come through the video very well. And so you can do different little things on it. I think I just killed it. I killed it. So these are just little RGB LEDs.
And they are really that blinding.
Yeah, they are blinding. So
perfect for kids.
It's a fun little project. So we've had a lot of and you can program it too. So a lot of kids like that. Kids of all ages, I'd say. Adults like it too.
Yeah, you brought it to a Bring a Hack dinner one time, I think, and everyone was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
I love this idea that you have this really amazing product that also tends to cost a little bit more, maybe outside of a kid gift price range, but like therefore you make this other thing that's like really shiny and really kid friendly, and also like costs a little bit less. Brilliant.
That's kind of why we like the Thumby too. It's just because we're able to make it very cheaply and sell it cheaply. So some of our other things like the arcades, we really like these, but with the screen's kind of a higher end screen that goes in there. And just to buy that screen in volume is quite expensive.
Yeah, it means the price will be
so that's why the price of those things are high. And so it's like people are like, oh, that thing should cost a lot less. It's like, well, we can't make it for a lot less. We're not making that many of them. Whereas the Thumby is something finally we can make here, and it's under $20. So it's kind of really appropriately priced for what it is. Whereas the arcade's over $50. People are like, oh, I'm not going to pay $50 for that. So it's kind of cool to have a low, I don't want to say low end product now, affordable product.
Yeah.
Compared to some.
Still high.
The branding.
Still very high end, but very low cost.
Who does your branding, by the way? Do you do that in-house as well?
Our branding?
Yeah, this Thumby packaging is just phenomenal. Like, I love how the things.
We're gonna pass that along. Yeah, we have somebody here.
Yeah, he's next door, Colin.
Cool.
He's kind of actually an intern, and so he's handling all of video production and some of our branding. So yeah, we do everything in house. So we're not like outsourcing branding or anything. So the Thumby logos, all that kind of stuff, the whole Kickstarter page, all our website, it's all internally done. We're kind of a small bootstrap company, so we don't have big budgets.
That's really good. This like retro styling. Good job, Colin.
Yeah.
More on the business side of this, how many people, if you don't mind me asking, like how many people do you have in your company, and what kind of roles do you have at a small company?
We have 14 people right now.
Nice.
Actually, there is a press page on that Thumby, so there's a picture of everybody on it, on that Thumby
cool.
document, so if you get on the bottom. So of those people, so if you scroll down and click on press kit and then scroll down the bottom of that page, you'll see pictures of everybody.
Oh.
So here's everybody.
Yeah.
Here's
The wizards.
on the couch. And so basically that top row is more, so we have basically 3 people in engineering. So or 4 people, Ben, Ren, Jason, and Mason. And they're the primary designers behind all the software and stuff for Thumby. Ben on the hardware side, the other guy's someone on the software side.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot of production stuff too. And so a lot of those other people are more on the production side. So the SMT, and then we're doing some, other production type things. A few people, Tiana just came on board. So she's kind of leading our sales and marketing effort. And then, just a good mix of people.
Nice. I had to move the logo so I'm not covering up Colin, but let's put that
There's Colin over there. So
That guy did the packaging.
Yeah, so he did the packaging. So we put the packaging together very quickly. So he did that in an afternoon when you ran over and laser cut the stuff. So
yeah.
Wow. This photography is it's so good.
Yeah.
Super
Good
excited.
stuff.
Yep.
Thank you.
So what else? Do you have any other secret things? Obviously, you're kickstarting one thing right now, so you're not going to be like in heavy development probably on another project for, until this cycle sort of wraps up. I could be wrong, but is there any like other dreams that you're dreaming about future products that you can tell us about?
Oh, we've got a lot of dreams. I mean, one of the we are working on, it's not entirely top secret. We received an SBIR grant. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but it's a small business grant from the government. So this is actually through the National Institutes of Health for a STEM product. And it's basically designed to encourage kids from underserved communities in K through 12 to enter healthcare professions is the goal. And so our proposal was designed basically like a little kid's Fitbit. So it's like basically a little device that the initial target is for 7th graders to use in like health class. And so we're teamed up with a group doing curriculum for it. And it's going to be rolled out in 8 different schools this fall. And so basically it's you take care of your avatar through different activities. So there's a pulse sensor.
Oh!
Between a Fitbit and like a Tamagotchi style.
I've been wanting to make that! Oh my gosh! I'm so excited! I literally have been like working on this I was going to build like a little, some kind of a little health monitor thing with this, just like a little timer to help remind you to hydrate and stuff. But like, oh my gosh, that's so wonderful.
No, it's really cool. And so, so we applied for it over a year ago for this grant. We were awarded the grant in June. So we're kind of building that right now to roll out here soon. Actually, there's somebody in the office next to me, one of the curriculum people. So that's actually a major project going on concurrently with Thumby. Thing is that it also uses an RP2040, but it has a color touchscreen, so it's a little bit different. But so that we're kind of rolling out here. And it's very heavily curriculum school based as well. So it really ties in with 7th grade health curriculum about fitness and healthy eating habits. And then assuming this phase goes well, we'd apply for a phase 2, which would actually commercialize the product. And so we'd like to sell more into like STEM and education opportunities. And then that product too, we want it to be pretty open so people could kind of hack it. And so teachers could design their own curriculum for it. So it'd be kind of a nice little kids handheld that you could design different games for. And you could program your own games in MicroPython as well. It uses an RP2040. So a lot of the stuff we're doing here with Thumby, we see is kind of tying over to that too, as like a future product.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on. And then there's other stuff too. But the Thumby is our focus right now.
I looked up this SBIR grant that you're talking about. Is this the one?
Yeah, so SBIR, basically a lot of different agencies in the government do SBIR. So Department of Defense is a big one, but EPA, this was through NIH, National Institutes of Health. Specifically, they were their solicitation for this was, hey, we want to encourage kids from underserved communities in K through 12 to get involved in healthcare in some way, or to at least think of that as an idea of what they could pursue as a career. And so they want to do it through game-based learning. And like, okay, what kind of game things do we do? It's like, well, we make little handheld games, so that's what we're proposed, and they gave us funding for it. So it's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
And it'd be a project we probably wouldn't be able to do on our own. It's pretty intensive. And then we're teamed up with a group out of Ohio State University. So a bunch of educators out of there developing the curriculum. We've teamed up with 8 different schools throughout the state of Ohio to kind of run the curriculum. So about 200 kids will go through the program this fall. And then we'll get feedback from them. And then we have to report that back to NIH. And hopefully we've met all the goals that we said we were going to meet. And then if so, we'd apply for a phase 2, which is significantly more money. So the phase 1 is roughly $250,000. And then the phase 2 would be up to $1.5 million.
Dang.
So that's
Means
some
there's a
real
lot of
money
work.
at that point. I mean, there's a lot of work, and a lot of that goes to other partners and whatnot. So there's like no profit in it. But the nice thing is assuming we get the phase 2, then at the end of the day, we'd have a product we could actually sell at low cost to schools, and hopefully get a lot of kids, eating better and doing some fitness, and hopefully learning about.
It's basically something we want to do, so that's the way to get there. But yeah, I don't see much money early on.
Yeah.
That is so exciting. I would love to hear more about this project as it goes along. I'm not a child anymore, but I do love the idea of this type of project. And as someone who, I try to track all these different things, and it's like, you've got to make sure that you get the right nutrients, you got to make sure that you're taking the right supplements, and that you're like hydrating and all this, getting outside once a day. And there's so much that
basically you have a little character on your device, and so you're kind of taking care of your avatar. And so it's like, oh, it's not feeling well, you go do some jumping jacks, and you measure your pulse, and it's like, and then also you kind of track how you ate for the day, but it's really reflects on your character, how they're feeling. And so it like tracks mood and different things kind of in a easier to understand context. And the idea is the kids will interact with it more because it's a game, and they carry the device with them all day, and kind of tracks if they sleep, kind of standard things that Fitbit does, but geared to kind of take care of your little character.
I'm not joking. I've been wanting to build something exactly like that, and I do not have the skills to do it. I'm so excited to see what you come up with. And I know that it's going to be adorable as well.
It is pretty cute.
Yeah.
So good.
I'll probably share more about it here this fall when we start to run the trials in different schools. So hopefully later this fall we'll run it. There's still a lot of work to do. There's a lot of gameplay to design for it. Basically, we just started in June, so there's a lot
short development schedule.
Short development schedule. So.
I was just playing this little dinosaur game on here this morning as well. So I'm sure that you'll come up with some really fun interfaces.
That one's actually easy, or probably the easiest to play on the Thumby, because you have to push a button, where some of the other ones have to use the D-pad. And the dinosaur game does get significantly faster as you go. It's pretty easy at first, but basically you just hop over a little obstacle.
It's definitely easier to see than the Tetris, because it's like really hard to distinguish on the little screen like where your shape is and stuff. But it's still a fun little challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these different products on your website already, just like a huge variety of things, including this TinyLily platform that I love, which is sort of
You
like
love that.
wearables. So good. And it's so incredibly tiny. Like that's a dime and a TinyLily. That's a little Arduino there. Love it. Are there any products on your page that you think should get more attention that you think people would really love, but people don't really know about?
Well, certainly the TinyLily that you love.
I do love it.
You do. It's definitely not our most popular products, but we like to highlight it, and we've come out with a couple new things for it. And then the wirelings we kind of see as almost complementary to that, because again, you can still use that for like wearables. So we kind of like a lot of wearable type stuff. And so the problem is the Lily stuff, conductor thread is kind of limiting on what you can do. So that's one nice thing with wirelings. You could add a lot of different sensors or displays. Whereas our standard system that's stacked together really aren't super well suitable for like sewing into clothes. In terms of things, I don't know. I think we got a lot of cool stuff that people just never use. I don't want to say never use, but one nice thing is we've got probably 100 different products, and so you can kind of see what things sell the best. So by far, the screens are the most popular things. So people like to use those for wearables or little games or put into models. Putting things into models are very popular to play videos on. And then, I mean, our kits are by far their most popular thing. But the standalone boards, there's just a lot of cool little sensors that people can do stuff with. So when people discover them, they get excited. And it's one of the things we just haven't done the best job at doing is kind of the storytelling. We don't do it as well as other companies in the field. And so we're trying to improve upon that through more like blog posts and tutorials about, here's, if you go to the website, it's just like a bunch of different boards. It's like, well, what do you do with these? And so
they do have some cool projects like this.
But again, just putting a lot of projects up on Hackster and getting people excited to think about what they can design.
Cool stuff.
Some Lily stuff, yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to throw in there before we wrap up? Obviously, we're going to show everyone your links again for where to sign up for the Kickstarter and stuff. But yeah. Got to show this one as well.
Thumby is a week away, and so we're excited and definitely interested to hear people's thoughts on it. And yes, we know it's small, so people say it's ridiculous, and that's kind of the hook is that it's ridiculous, but it's cute and it's fun, and make some stuff with it. Yeah,
everyone join the wait list on Thumby.us. That's THUMBY.us. You can follow TinyCircuits on Twitter at TinyCircuits. It's a shocker. And also on Instagram. Lots of cool stuff on here. And of course, the regular TinyCircuits webpage at just TinyCircuits.com. Thank you so much, guys. This has been an awesome time. I love showing off your stuff. As you know, I'm a huge fan. I'm going to have so much fun with this Thumby.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Cheers. Best of your luck with your Kickstarter.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.